addict, so pull up a chair, grab your favorite beverage, and we'll get to crafting and memory keeping. Today we're working on part 3 of my Blush and Breezy envelope journal. In parts 1 and 2, we put the journal together and then we started decorating it. For part 3, I'm going to continue to decorate using the freebies for this week. Show you what those are. I decided I wanted to do a little bit of memory keeping with this journal, so I've created some film strips and Polaroid style frames along with some additional fussy cuts and some sentiment strips in different styles. I will have the link down in the description box where you can go over and grab these. I designed them a little larger in case you wanted to use these with a different project other than the envelope journal, but I have printed them to use in this journal at 5x7. You can print them like that. You can scale them down to different sizes, but this is what they would look like printed 2 to a page, 5x7. And I'm going to fussy cut all these out and come back and we'll start adding them to our journal. Okay, I've got everything fussy cut out, and I went ahead and fussy cut out both the small ones that I printed out at the 2 to a page, 5x7, and the large ones that were full size for the freebies, to just give you a little idea of different scale and what all you can do with these, even if you don't use the Blush and Breezy envelope journal. You can do lots of things with these little Polaroid style picture frames. And I also cut out some more journaling card mats with some paper that I had gotten on sale at Hobby Lobby. I thought these color schemes went really well with the kit. I didn't use this dark purple, but I did cut out all 4 of these. If you are looking for it, I don't know if Hobby Lobby still has it or not, but it was the confetti. And I went ahead and cut those out because I'm probably going to do some matting on some more of the journaling cards. And what I want to do today is I'm just going to kind of do more of a craft with me style. I have not planned this out. I just want to kind of lay out my thoughts, and as I create these journaling cards to go in the envelopes that we created. And I wanted to show you a couple of ways you could use these Polaroid picture frame or the film strips. You could print a picture, glue it right on top of here. Let me grab something really quick. I grabbed a couple little pieces of ephemera to kind of replicate some pictures, that instead of printing out some pictures, I don't have anything printed out at the moment. But I wanted to show you how you could use these different frames. You could just cut out the picture. Let's measure this really quick. The center of this frame is approximately 1 7/8 by 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut this out the same. I'll grab my little trimmer. So let's see here. Let's do 2. Let's trim this edge off here. We're doing 2. And then trim this a little bit. And then we'll do 1 7/8. Alright, so we've got our little portrait here to represent our picture. And then you can just glue this right down over your frame. You could ink around that if you wanted to, or glue it straight down. The other way you could do this would be to take an X-Acto knife, grab that, and cut out the frame here. If you're using an X-Acto knife, be very careful. Sometimes they can get away from you. No injuries in memory keeping. And then you have your frame that you could use this way. And then you could glue that down over your picture. Put your picture down, and then your frame down right over your picture. This requires a little bit more going ahead and having your pictures printed out this way. The other way, you could go ahead and put them on your journaling cards, and just as you print your pictures out, paste them down. If you don't have an X-Acto knife and you want to do this, let me show you a different thing you could do. Or if you're not real confident on using X-Acto knives, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll take my hole punch and I'll punch a hole in something, and then I'll grab my smaller scissors, and that way I've already got that started, and I can just cut out with my scissors instead of the X-Acto knife. I find this is a little faster, and I don't feel quite as nervous about it, making sure that X-Acto knife blade doesn't slip, and you end up with a frame just like you did the first one, to where you've got your little frame. The other thing that you can do with these is some of these, like with the flower, you can do kind of a signature cut. You can cut around this floral here. So that you end up being able to tuck your picture underneath that flower. It's almost kind of like using a sticker over a picture. Then your picture just gets tucked right underneath there and glued down. Obviously, this is not the correct size for this particular frame, but you get the idea of how you can keep that little embellishment and put your picture down. Alright, so let's clean the desk off just a little bit, and we'll come back and we'll start adding these frames to our journal. I'm going to set my journal aside for right now because I don't need that, because I'm just going to be working on these journal cards. The kit came with 6 journal cards, so I'm going to be using those. And I've also cut extra journal cards out of that cardstock. I'm going to use 6 of those. 6. That way there'll be 2 journal cards in each one of the envelopes. And I'm going to go with the style of just leaving my mats in here and adding my photos later. But I probably will, if I use any of these, go ahead and cut this section out so that I can tuck my photos up underneath. So I'm just going to add some music here and do a little bit of creative play. If there's anything I think I need to explain, come back at the end and explain it all. back at what we did. I went ahead and inked up the 2 journaling cards that are going to go in the pockets and the tag that'll go in the pockets next week. And this is what I did for the journaling cards. I added my photo mats. Be sure when you're adding your photo mats to make sure you do not glue down anything that might go over a picture. I did some clustering. Again, make sure you don't do that. And next week we'll come back and finish up everything. I went ahead and inked all the edges for these. And for the journaling cards that I cut out of the cardstock, I used the scallop edge from We Are Memory Keepers. I used the one that was the scallop, if you can see that. If I can find that, I got that off Amazon. If I can find that, I'll link that down below for you. Again, did my mats. And just inked around all of these. I've left room that when I put my pictures in, I can do a little bit of journaling or add some sentiment strips. That way if I wanted to add a date or names of anybody that might be in the photos. So I hope y'all have enjoyed this. Be sure to hit the subscription button and the notification bell so you'll be notified when I put up the part 4 and final part for this Blush and Breezy envelope journal kit. Also be sure to check down in the description box for the link to join us over in my Facebook group. We're doing a challenge in the Facebook group this month, and you have the opportunity to win a digital kit. And also there's great inspiration from a lot of other crafters there, and I often have discount codes that you can get discounts off of my Ko-fi shop. So I hope to see y'all over there in the attic, and until I see you again here, y'all take care.